Okay, so while we continue, we upload the first part of the examination. Let's take a look at the other four slides. The microscope, as I said, I mean, it's like it's in a very bad condition. Maybe it's fixable. I don't know, but it's mostly the mechanical stuff. But the rest of the stuff, this is now like a hindrance. But the rest of the subsystems are also kind of like it should be replaced. Hopefully, I mean, we can continue. But I cannot plan long term because I don't have money. But let's we'll be able to just conclude this examination. Just we'll do it like gently, because most of the problem is that the hands of the microscope do not hold like the slide, so it might jump out any second, like we had happened like by the end of the previous film. Anyway, this is the second sample from this container, the same container that we have seen in the previous slide, but it's not exactly the same material. When I take 2 or 3 samples from container, mostly I try to diversify. I mean as much as possible. Sometimes it's impossible, but so what does it mean to diversify? Diversify like so I take usually there is like for example in this case. It's not like it's not like wax all the way. Just mostly it's oil. Just a little bit of wax that is like the wax is by volume very small percentage of the mixture. It's always true and it's always true now. But it's solidified on the top. So we have like an ocean of oil underneath. We have an ocean of oil underneath us. Okay, you see like an ocean of oil. I really like there will be blood, it's a great film, really. There will be blood. So there is an ocean of oil beneath us. So like I've taken so one sample from the ocean of oil, and like another sample from the more hardened layer from the top, for example. I didn't write when I do it more rigorously the examination. I kind of write I write like a legend of each of the slides, but I didn't do it now because it wasn't that important. But so one was taken from the oil and one was taken from the more solid material from the top. But I don't remember what. But it makes sense that the result will actually be different. Because of the it's the same container but different the layers within the container. So let's take a look. So we see many neros, and we already see difference. These are more like I would say just a second. So we do see quite a bit, but not spread evenly on the slide, but we do see quite a bit. So what's the spread problem? Maybe it's something to do with not actually how it's spread, but actually how, the cover, because it's hovering, it's not well placed. Yeah. So it wasn't well positioned because of the the mechanical problem. Shit. Just a second, sorry. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We apologize for our viewers. Our technical department is working on the stuff rigorously. Just a second. Just a second. So let's just, dismantle the right hand. And we'll just work with the left hand for now. Just to continue this examination. So it will be like not that comfortable, but just, I cannot fix it now, and it's a hassle. So let's just work with let's try to work just with the left hand of the microscope, of the table. Remember, we give it just one try. Shit. Just a second, okay? למה בן אדם שיש לו חשיבות עצומה וייצור תרופה שיכולה להציל את כולכם עובד בתנאים כאלה? כי אתם לא מספיק רעבים. אכלתם יותר מדי. אם הייתם רעבים מספיק, זה לא היה קורה. אכלתם יותר מדי. קיגל בחודש? אז קיגל בחודש זה יותר מדי. אדם עדיין רותח, האגו הוא בשמיים, אני בעוני, אכלתם יותר מדי. קיגל בשנה, ואולי אדם מתקרר. מספיק בשביל לחשוב בצורה הגיונית, ולהפסיק את הזוועה. Just a second again. Problem. זה בנץ? עכשיו כל ברור, זה בנץ. זה לא פשע, זה פייל. זה יצור שאכל יותר מדי, אכל שבע ודמו רותח. יכול להיות שקיגל בחודש זה יותר מדי. אדם רותח. הוא עונדי. עכשיו הכל ברור. זה בעצם עונדי. עכשיו הכל ברור. זה בעצם עונדי. הבנת מה קרה בו? זה לא פליי של ישראל. הוא הפוך היה כל הזמן. זה בנץ? זה בנץ. זה בנץ, הבנתם? זה בנץ. So again, we see mostly smaller ones, not bigger ones, not even medium ones, but we see quite a bit of smaller ones. So it's not that bad. We have focus issues. I mean, so it's difficult to find like the correct focus. But it's not a bad, sample. It's just a little less rich than the previous one, but not significantly less. This is a 150 magnification, and now we see the new was much better. And we see that we have it's a good assortment. And maybe it's even as good as the previous one. You know what? Because we do see tremendous amount now with 150, just that they are very small. But again, tremendous amount of smaller ones, I mean, is not like necessarily worse than, a good amount of bigger ones. Like, it's a question that it was discussed many times in the past, like, what's the correct, diversity of the fleet? It was discussed many times, it's still an open question. I don't want to get into it. It's a good mixture. Just, that we don't have, like, many bigger ones, but, we have tremendous amount of the smaller to, smaller ones. And again, smaller by our standards are huge by your standards. So, it's... Just to say, it's like what you see just on the microscope now, the material on the microscope now, contains significantly less T than whatever is in your crap, like in the last, in accumulation in the last 2 years, like of each of, like of any of you, any of you probably sheeted less than what's just on the slide. Just the drop on the slide contains more T than what you have kept like in the last 2 years, together, each of you, but but together, but the entire 2 years, like of crap. Does that make sense? That you eat so much crap and drink your pee and suffer, while it's presumably easy to actually manufacture the thing. So the answer is a creature that lives on the sword manifests all sorts of behaviors that many times are irrational or completely irrational by the standard of people that already discovered the alphabet and communication and diplomacy. But it doesn't mean that it's completely irrational, objectively. Just that because by their own standard they are rational. That's the way they live, on the sword. So, and it dictates all sorts of other constraints. So what you might say that you might color that thing as irrational or stain it as irrational. It's actually super rational according to the constraint and the presuppositions of their own worldview and state of mind. Okay, so it's a good mixture. I'm satisfied with that. The problem is that we have lost the right hand of the table, so it's really uncomfortable to walk like that. What can I say? But let's continue. So this one is from the smaller container. The medium size, not the smallest, but the smaller. So let's, give me some more time to try to fix it. If I manage to do it, we'll continue with the examination. If not, we'll just continue with, with our endeavors intuitively. Intuitively, the best, this contains the best results, and the smaller, this one is a little worse than that, and this is the worst, because of the smaller the container, the worse the results. Not just, not just in like absolute, of course, in absolute, not just in absolute terms, but also in the density. And this got also of explanation, let's leave it for now. So almost certainly this is the best container, not just by the fact that it contains tremendously more than what you see here and there, here, even together, but also even like spoon-wise, this is probably much better. It's got an explanation. Let's leave it for now. I will take a look at what we see here, like at what we have here. Maybe we'll try to do it together. Just a second. Yeah, it's now broken. Oh, fuck. Just a second. But let's maybe try just to take a look, on what we have here, very gently. שיט, זה נשבר על המיקרוסקופ. איזה כיף פה? איזה כיף פה. נפלאות אגו. הכל זה תוצאה של המפלצת הזאת שנקראת אגו של בני אדם. הוא צריך להיות עני מרוד, הוא צריך להיות עלוב, מטונף, אמא שלו צריכה לבוא, להשגיח עליו, צריך לצבור אותו כיצור הכי שופל. לא בגלל שאנחנו לא יודעים שיש לו את כל היכולות האלה. בגלל שאנחנו יודעים שיש לו את היכולות האלה מאז שהיה בן 10 בערך, ואפילו לפני. לא בגלל שאנחנו לא מכירים אותו, בגלל שאנחנו מכירים אותו מצוין מאז שהיה בן 10 ואפילו לפני. עכשיו בן 41 ואנחנו מכירים אותו מצוין. אף אחד פה לא באמת חושב שזה פרמיון בן 19 או כל שאר הפנטזיות. יודעים בדיוק מי זה נועם דוד ומכירים אותו כנראה מאז שנולד, את המשפחה שלו מכירים עשרות רבות של שנים לפני כן. הרדיפה היא לא בגלל שהם לא יודעים, אלא בדיוק בגלל שהם יודעים. יפה מאוד מי זה. יפה מאוד הם יודעים. זאת הסיבה לרדיפה. לא כי הם משהו פה חדש להם, ממש לא. בדיוק בגלל זה ששום דבר פה לא חדש להם. בגלל זה הרדיפה. מה המסקנה? או פה או חיים. צריך לבחור באחד מהשניים. מה יותר חשוב, המשך השיחה או תקווה לחיים? So this one is tremendously less liquid, less viscosity, is that the correct term? Because it's like almost dry. So there is almost no liquid here. So like from the old, from the remnant of what we have, from the remnant of the old fleet from Rishon LeZion. We almost see nothing here, but this might be because of how it's the composure that is too. It's not smooth, it shouldn't be that way. You see, the lines, of how it was created, constructed. It might contain many neurons that are just, it's not like a properly created slide. Maybe I'll try to create another slide, which maybe I'll add a little bit of, a drop of water or a drop of oil, because like that it's difficult to observe anything. What we actually, we did not fail to observe that in all of these kind of samples, we did not see life form at all, which was to be expected, and I've explained why. Not Earth life form and also not alien life forms. But this again is to be expected because of how these are created. So it's to be expected. Because of the nature, the style, the class of the again, there are, for the newcomers of this channel, there are tremendous amount of types of containers and mixtures, tremendous amounts. These are all, what you see here, and this includes all the stuff that was used by the legions in the last months. All of it is just of one very specific type of mixture. Let's call it the standard, okay? For now, vanilla, I don't know, the standard, but there are many, I don't even use the word, you shouldn't even use the word standard because it's not even standard, no, the standard is not the correct term. I don't know, let's say it's like the Legion meat, okay? The standard Legion meat. But it's not standard, right? Because there are many other kind of mixtures, many other kind of containers, many dozens, if not hundreds of types, and it was discussed in length in many, many videos that you should watch if you are interested in what actually happened in reality. If you elect or if you choose to continue your excursion into the realm of possible realities, then by all means you do not need to watch any of the microscopy videos. You could continue, the fruitful discussion of what maybe the word microscopy might mean or might not. But I mean, if reality, I mean, is in the agenda of any of my listeners, subscribers, then my recommendation is very simple: just watch all the hundreds of microscopy videos and the explanation videos, because I mean it's like 3 years work and contains a tremendous amount of material in which explain many different kind of containers. This is, I mean, everything that you see here, including everything that was used by the legions in the last months, it's all like of just one type. But there are many other types and differences, and it's a huge thing. This type, what's special about it is that it's, first of all, that it's kind of like, it's easily lends itself to kind of like, the double cooking, which means that, I mean, you create like a rekes, like you create like, one, like, you create like, kind of like, a mixture, at your home or in the laboratory, and then, but you do not use it as it is, but you use another cooking, like second cooking in the field. And when you add all sorts of material, but mostly just oil, and then you increase like, the size of the meal tremendously by volume, and also a little bit change the composition. So, and other things as well, but let's not get into it. So this is like, kind of like, characteristics of this kind of like, of mixture. And another kind of like characteristics is they are very sterile, much more than other kind of mixtures. Other mixtures are tremendously more conductive to life. Of all kinds, not just bacteria, regular bacteria, alien bacteria. This is discussed and observed at length in this channel in many videos. It's not that all mixtures, just to say it, because I stress this out, because if you're new to the channel, you might think that, all mixtures that are kind of like, that are created and, inspected in this channel are kind of like, contain stone of Neros and no life forms. But this is not true, because sometimes they contain tremendous amount of life forms, and sometimes hideous things that, you don't even know that exist. And this is sometimes it's intentionally so. It depends on the type of the mixture, the type of the experiments. Some mixtures are very conductive to life, of many kinds, but not the legion meat. The legion meat is not conductive to life. Okay, so maybe just give it one more try before we stop the video and try to fix the microscope, but it will be, from the inspection perspective, it will be enough for now, because I don't want to waste too much time on that. Okay. So we see Neos, but it's that difficult to focus because of the how it was created. So I should take if it's interesting. I should take another sample from that with a little bit of oil or something. But the most important thing is just to fix the microscope. So that will be all for now. Bottom line, it's good. Real good, because in any way, I had expected like this one to be the main food for the legions. It's not much, but still, it's not very little. It's not much, but it's not very little. So even if we use like half of each container, for example, and we mix it together, and this will be a kind of like the rekes. How do you say rekes? Like the concentrated material, and of course much bigger after like field burning and addition of oil. Then, even by what we've just seen now, like half of which will be taken, the rest will be used like for future experiments and also for the creation of others, like as like a seed for like a new kind of like legion, because this will be because this will replete like everything. Like, then we have no more religions, just, remnants that can be used and should be used for the creation of other religions. But with regards to, the next deployment, like, the Roman, deployment to Judea, so but what we've observed by the eyes and also from experiment, half of each of these together is a rekez, like, it's a concentration that, greatly increased, by adding oil. The volume will be greatly increased by adding oil in the field. We can tell that for Judea, it's good enough. Like, it's not like, I wouldn't, like, try to conquer Britannia with that, and not Gallia as well, but for Judea, it's a reasonable deployment, and with compared to previous deployment, it's not as good. They were not all the same, but we'll say previous, in the last 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks. So we had several, but, and so, when I say deployment, I mean the entire of the deployment, like not just one burning. Like maybe because in each deployment, I've burned like, I've left like 3 or 4, I've done like 3 or 4, like, burnings. Or maybe just 3 or 4. So in totality. Like, so when I say deployment, I mean the total 3, not just one of the 3. So what we have here, if we take half of each of the 4, of course, adding oil and other materials, and spreading it again over like maybe 3 or 4, like, actual, like batches, as we've done in the previous deployments. So what you can expect to get from examination and also logic and, תחושה כזאת, intuition, is probably something along the lines of maybe 50%, I would say, or 50%, like, results, like, with regards to the number of neros and the average size of what we've done in the previous deployment. So it's like 50, we can expect to get like 50%, which is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's worthwhile, like, to לצאת החוצה מהבית, וקצת להשתזף בשמש, גם 50% זה שווה, נראה לי, תעירו, אתם מוזמנים לקומנטר בקומנטר. טוב, אני אזדרז פה, שצריך להכין תיק וכל מיני דברים, ולאכול ארוחת צהריים, אני רעב, ולכל מיני רעב, אני לא יודע למה. עוד סיבוב עם זה, קרן, לא יודע אם נספיק. היא יכולה גם להגיב מה שהיא רוצה, זה עשוי להשפיע על התוצאות, אולי או שלא להשפיע על התוצאות, נראה. בכל מקרה, את LGPL נעשה כבר בחוץ, לא פה. נקליט את זה בחוץ, לא פה, כי אני רוצה להזדרז ולצאת החוצה. את הקלאס של LGPL נעשה בחוץ. מה עוד יש לנו חוץ מה-LGPL? יש לנו זה של סידר אזרחי וזנבנק. שמעון, נכון? זנבנק. נעשה את זה גם בחוץ. ואת האולימפיאדה 72 גם נעשה בחוץ. טוב, תודה לכם, וביי בינתיים.